Hi, I'm Kyle Root, a training program developer with MSU IT, and I'm in Anthony Hall today. We're going to be taking a look at this analog tech cart. Now, what makes this straight up analog? Well, if you've watched a couple other videos that I've done, there's always been a touchscreen control panel which controls various functions and inputs for the tech cart. This one doesn't have that. There's actually some manual switchers, there's an amplifier to adjust the audio, so I'll walk you through all that. First thing I'm going to do is walk you through connecting your microphone. That's very important for your in-class, but especially for your online audience. You need to have your microphone going, and we'll troubleshoot that a little bit if you're having issues. I'll also walk you through powering up the projector. We'll look at the host PC, logging into that. We'll get into Zoom and Teams and how to share out content with that. I'll also talk about the web camera and adjusting various things with the remote for the webcam. And then also, what happens if you need to share out some content that you're drawing or writing on? Well, there is a document camera. It is, again, an analog one, so it gets a little tricky with your online audience. We'll talk about that. Also, if you need to play a video, either through a video file, maybe it's online, or you have a DVD or VHS tape. Awesome. We'll walk you through how to do that. Also, if you're coming into the room with your own laptop, I will walk you through how to connect that up. It gets a little tricky with the online audience, with sharing out your audio and video from your own personal laptop, but I'll walk you through that and the things you need for that. Lastly, what do you need to do before you walk out the door? You need to put your microphone back, powering off, what all do you need to do? We'll walk through all that. So, sounds like a good time, right? Well, let's get started. So to get your microphone going, go ahead and pull the transmitter out of the dock, plug in your microphone, and secure that down. And you'll notice that the yellow light is on. That means it's muted. There's a switch just above it. Go ahead and toggle that to the right. It turns green. That means you're active. And of course, just slide it back to mute again. Mount your microphone on your clothing just about a palm's length down from your neck or so. That'll get you going very nicely. Once your microphone is plugged in, it's automatically connected to the tech cart, so there's nothing else you need to do. The first thing you need to look for is if you're having audio issues, you need to make sure that this is actually powered on and this green power light is on. So sometimes it gets turned off, and so if you're having any audio issues whatsoever, make sure that's powered on. The next thing I'll point out is the knobs on here. You see little red dots, and these are suggested levels for the various inputs. So we have the master level, which is somewhere around there. Now you can tweak that for your in-class audience. And if we move down here further, you see here's the microphone input. So that's going to be your lapel microphone. And the suggested level is quite a bit lower. And then you have other inputs like the VCR DVD. You have the computer and the auxiliary inputs. The main thing you need to do is just be aware that this amplifier is down here and knobs and switches can get turned off. So just make sure to look for those and double check those if you're having issues. Now, with the tech cart, there are 3 remotes. You have the Ava remote for the webcam, you have the Epson for the projector, and you see it actually says projector on that, and then you have a Magnavox, in this case, for the DVD and VHS. So, we're going to take the projector remote, and we'll go ahead and power on. So that turns on the projector, but you obviously need to manually pull down the screen in the front of the room. The first thing in the tech cart you may want to check is this switcher for the computer input. And in this case, it's on PC, and that is the host PC, and that is selected, so we're good. Once we get to connecting our own laptop, you'd want to switch that over. So go ahead and pull out the keyboard and mouse tray, press Ctrl-Alt-Delete, and go ahead and log in with your MSU Net ID and current password. Okay, now that we're logged into the computer, let's just go ahead and launch Zoom right from the desktop. You'll see it runs this little script first, and we'll just wait for that to finish running, and it will actually launch the Zoom app. And it looks like we need to log in first, so let's go ahead and do that. And I will open the link, Okay, and it launches our Zoom app. And I'm going to go ahead and just start a new meeting. More than likely you'll have one scheduled already and launch it from there. But here we'll just join with computer audio. So we're in our Zoom meeting. You'll see that it automatically picks up the audio from the TechCart, but I don't see the video right now. Now, if you look at the webcam on the TechCart, you'll see it's in a resting position and the light is red. Once I click on Start Video, it automatically picks up the webcam and you'll see the light turns blue. So now you're connected to the audio, you're connected to the video, no configuration or anything necessary. It's real easy to connect both of those. Now, if you need to make any changes to the webcam, for example, as I'm standing here at the TechCart, I see that I'm a little off frame. So I'm going to grab that remote, that Ava remote. Camera Select 1 is the camera attached to the cart. And then you can use those up and down arrows for tilt, and then right and left arrows for pan. So let's go ahead and move this around. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I feel comfortable standing in front of the cart, speaking to the in-class audience and speaking to the remote audience. Now, let me take a moment to talk about, and I did go a little more in depth in the other two videos that I did on TechCarts, but I do want to talk about addressing the classroom versus the remote audience. So obviously, as you're talking to the in-class audience, you're making eye contact with them. Don't forget to turn to the webcam and actually look at the webcam, make eye contact with your remote audience. So that's very important for engagement on their end, okay? So as you're teaching at the TechCart, speaking to those in class, don't forget to turn and talk to your remote audience. Very important. Now, in addition to actually manually adjusting the camera where you want it, you can actually program various positions if you want. So there's a P for program button here. Let me show you on the desktop. If you want to reference the hybrid TechCart guide, you can go ahead and double click on that, and you'll see a section for remote control, and here configuring your presets. If you do configure those presets, just be aware that if the TechCart is moved, it'll keep the framing if you're standing in front of the TechCart, but if you're trying to frame the background, that might move if the TechCart itself is moved. So just be aware of that. So now we have our audio and our video connected through Zoom. Let's talk about sharing out content from your desktop. Now, within the Zoom meeting, and you've probably done this before, but just in case you haven't or you need a refresher, click the big green share button at the bottom. And it is suggested that you share out your entire screen as opposed to one application or another. That way, if you need to switch between those applications, it's not an issue. And go ahead and click Share Sound. That's really important, otherwise your remote audience isn't going to be able to hear anything. So you want to share the sound. And you might as well optimize for video clip as well, just in case you're going to play a video. And let's go ahead and click Share. And you'll see it's outlined in green and it's sharing your entire desktop. So now I'm able to switch between applications and it automatically picks up everything that I'm sharing. If you do want to pause it, you can click Pause. Then you can move around, choose another application. Once you resume sharing, it's seamless and it automatically cuts to that new share for the remote audience. So it would just freeze where it was and then automatically pick up. Okay, and we can just go ahead and stop the share. Okay, so that's a look at sharing out your audio, video, and various content through Zoom, but I know a lot of you are using Teams as well, so let's go ahead and touch on that. Okay, back on the host PC now. I'm logged into Teams in the web browser, and it's important to know that the full Teams desktop client is not installed on the host PCs, so you have to log into Office 365 or Spartan 365 on the web. It's also important to note that Firefox is not a supported browser, so to do Teams meetings, you have to use Google Chrome or Edge, a supported browser. So more than likely you have a meeting already scheduled and you can launch that from your calendar. In my case, I'm going to go ahead and just do a Meet Now. And I do want it to access my microphone and camera, so I'm going to allow. And you'll see it picks up the camera, I also have the audio that's toggled on. You shouldn't need to do anything with the settings. Should automatically pick those up. So I'm going to go ahead and connect now. And again, the audio and video, like Zoom, automatically pick up. Just so easy for you to get things going within the classroom. Okay, so as far as sharing out content, I'm going to go ahead and open the share tray. So this is a little up arrow with a screen. And let's go ahead and choose, like Zoom, the entire desktop or screen. And the share button's grayed out. Well, I do need to actually select which screen I want. Sometimes if you have multiple monitors, you could choose another one. But I'm going to go ahead and share here, and it will share out my entire desktop. You'll see that the camera icon here actually went gray. So that's because you can only share your desktop or a webcam at the same time. So once you're sharing your desktop, your camera turns off. Now, once I stop sharing, well, it doesn't pick up my camera. I have to manually click to turn that on. So make sure you do that as well after sharing out content through the desktop. So that way your remote audience can see you again. Okay, so that's a look at sharing out your audio, video, and various content from the computer through Zoom and Teams. Now, what happens if you need to share out something physical, like a sheet of paper, or I want to write or draw something? Well, in that case, you need a document camera. And in this room, we have an analog document camera. With that come restrictions through Zoom and Teams. Obviously, that analog signal can't go through the computer natively, so there's a bit of a workaround with that, and I'll show you that in just a moment. If you do want a digital document camera, you can request that through the MSU IT Service Desk. So let me go ahead and grab this analog document camera, and we'll take a look. Okay, so I just swung that document camera around and set that up. You can go ahead and plug that into the tech cart. There's a plug right there. That'll get our power going. There's the power switch. And then we need to plug in the 15-pin RGB cable and plug that into the RGB out port on the document camera. Okay, back at the tech cart, let's look down at that switcher again. Now remember I said input number 1 was for the host PC and 2 is for the laptop. Well, 2 is actually for that 15-pin RGB cable. So in our case, we do want to hit number 2, which you'll see will switch over from the host PC, and now we'll be displaying the document camera. Okay, so now that we have our document camera plugged in, we chose laptop, we can actually put whatever we want here underneath the document camera, and you can go ahead and do whatever you need to do. Now, I can see that over here on my monitor, this is showing the document camera. Now, we are in our Zoom meeting right now, but I can't see the Zoom meeting on the computer. So what I would need to do is come back over to the switcher. Let me just hit PC, and you'll see this actually jumps back to the computer, and now it's displaying the computer on the screen. It's displaying the computer on the monitor. Now, I was telling you that you can't actually have the document camera go through Zoom or Teams. So in this instance, I'm keeping the web camera on. I pointed it to the screen, so that way our remote audience can actually see the screen. Now, once I hit the laptop button, it switches back over to that laptop input, but our Zoom session is still going on in the background. So if they're having a hard time seeing it, you can always turn off the light. A lot of times there's some reflection from the light, so we can do that. Okay, so now we can go ahead and do our document camera. Our Zoom meeting is actually showing our document camera through the webcam, so your remote audience can see everything you're doing underneath the document camera. Now let's move on to take a look at playing a video in your class. Now, first thing you need to do is determine, do I have this electronically or is it in a physical medium like a DVD or a VHS tape? Now, similar to the document camera, which is an analog signal, that DVD or VHS is not going to be able to go through Zoom or Teams. So you'd be stuck reframing the webcam, pointing it at the screen and playing it that way, and the audio would have to go through your microphone. Not the best option. So if you can get that video from an analog format into a digital format that you could either play through a video file and just share out through the computer, or stream from YouTube, MediaSpace, or some online platform, then that's going to be your best option. Okay, so I'm moving over to the computer and I'm already in my Zoom meeting. So let's go ahead and share out our screen. And you want to make sure that share sound and optimize for video clip are chosen. And we're going to go ahead and share. Now, if you have a video file, either on your OneDrive or on a thumb drive or something like that, then the best way to play that is through the VLC Media Player app. And there's a shortcut to that right on the desktop. Just go to the Media menu, open File, find your file, and you can play it. Now, do be aware that if you have it in the cloud, you need to pull it down locally so it can read that. So just make sure you test things out, maybe have it ready to go prior to that. Now, if your video is online, obviously you just need to launch your web browser, go to YouTube, MediaSpace, wherever it's at, and play it from there. Now, if you do need to play a DVD or VHS in class, go ahead and make sure that video switcher, you see video inputs, is on VCR DVD. There is an aux as well, but we want it on VCR and DVD. And then the unit is just below it. You can power that up and play that. Now, earlier I did talk about bringing your own laptop in and hooking that up to the TechCart, and you can do that. The simplest solution is through the host PC itself, but if you have a MacBook or something that you want to use and you have everything on your laptop, that's fine. You can bring it in. So there are going to be some things that you need, however. So let me walk you through what you need to get that connected. Now, what do you need to connect your own laptop? Well, you need video, of course, because you're going to share your computer, and you have the 15-pin RGB cable for that. You need audio as well. You have the black cord, which is the audio out or headphone, and then the blue cord, which is the microphone or audio in. Okay, so here are my two adapters, the one I need for video and audio. If you don't have these, you can put in a request with the MSU IT Service Desk, and they'll get something to you that you can use. So first thing you do, 15-pin RGB, that's red, green, blue, by the way. That won't be on the exam, but so that goes in there. This goes into your laptop. In my case, it's a USB-C for a MacBook. So that's our video. Audio, we take our black cable, that goes into the headphone or audio out, and then audio in or microphone is the blue cable. So that'll get you going. Let's say class is over and you're wrapping up and you want to head out that door, but before you do that, what do you need to do as far as the TechCart is concerned? Well, first things first, we need to take off our microphone and unplug that from the transmitter. And we're going to go ahead and take that transmitter, put that back in the charging dock, and push down so it clicks. And you'll make sure that you see the lights. Then it's going to recharge and be ready for the next person. So that takes care of your microphone, but what about the computer? If you're using the host computer and you made any changes, you saved some files to the desktop or something like that, what do you need to do before you actually log out of the system? Let's take a look. The first thing you need to do before shutting down is actually saving those files, because once you shut down or log out, those files are gone forever. So you can either save it on a USB drive or you can save it to the cloud. For example, OneDrive, if you log into your 365 account, you can go ahead and upload them there. Now make sure that those files sync to the cloud prior to shutting down. Don't just copy them over and shut down right away. It may not have enough time to copy those files over. Okay, so once you're actually ready to shut down, we created a little script file that runs using this logout icon. So double click this. It will wipe everything of yours off of the hard drive and will reboot and be fresh and ready for the next person. Whew, I did it. That can be tricky. Before you leave the room, make sure to put the screen up and grab the projector remote and hit that little standby button. That'll put the projector to sleep. and be ready for the next person. Other than that, the tech cart, you don't need to do anything to it. Leave the amplifier on. Everything else is as is. So hopefully this training was helpful, gives you a little better idea as far as what to expect when you walk into a room with an analog tech cart. If you have any questions once you're in the room or even before that, or you need equipment, adapters and such, please reach out to the MSU IT Service Desk at 517-432-6200, or you can email them at ithelp@msu.edu.